Good afternoon, everybody. Oh, thank you. Any time that we have had an opportunity in this new form of county government to try to reform our processes or return more money either to county government or to the citizens themselves, we have tried to do that. And we have an opportunity to do that I think is going to be important, not just for county government, but also for members of the general public who may have funds of their own that have been held by the county. So earlier this year, when we had a changeover in the clerk's office, one of the things that our new clerk of courts, Andrea Rocco, did was she looked at all the financial transactions and processes that the clerk's office performs as a matter of law, and then did the same thing that we try to do in every department, which is there any way to do this better? What are requirements under the statute? What do other counties do? Is there a way that we can be more efficient? Is there a way that we can operate more transparently and openly? What's the best practice? And then how do we implement the best practice? And that's what we're talking about here today. So I'm going to let her explain a lot of the details of it. But the short version is just this, that there's approximately $23 million worth of unclaimed funds. And our fiscal team, Valerie, Harry, and others, helped identify this after being asked to do that review by our new clerk of court. These unclaimed funds came from several different sources, usually people interacting with the court system, but Andrea will explain that in a little bit more detail. The unclaimed funds come from really three different kind of buckets, if you will. Criminal bonds, civil bonds, and fee deposits. Now, there is a process that the county can go through to try to dispose of these funds if the parties that paid them don't come forward. And that is, I think, the mistake that was made in the past, is the county continually was waiting for parties to come forward, but many years have gone by now, and these funds need to be put to a better purpose. Now, they can either be put to a better purpose as a function of county government, or they can be put to a better purpose because the individuals that paid them in can have them returned to them. Now, there's a process that that we have to go through, and it's a long process. The process starts with giving people notice. So what you're going to see in the coming weeks and months is we're going to be online and through some other methods notifying people that they had these funds on deposit with the court. And that's a long process. Now, if they don't respond to any of that, eventually those funds will come back and can be used. Instead of just sitting in an account and waiting for them to someday come forward, those funds, after approximately 5 years, can be used by the county, go right into the county's general fund, and can be used for any services. So this is something that other counties have done, and they've done it on a regular basis. Cuyahoga County chose not to do it that way. These funds have been languishing, and I'm very appreciative both to the Clerk of Courts and also to our fiscal team for identifying this as an efficiency. Why don't we, and by the way, now the whole $23 million, there will be a breakdown that it's pretty much impossible for us to say today how much are citizens of Cuyahoga County, or folks that have wouldn't have to be a citizen of Cuyahoga County, somebody that interacted with our court system. Some of the money will go back to them. Some of the money will end up going to the county. It's hard to say until we've gone through this whole process what the division is going to be of those funds, but it's certainly going to be a much better outcome than having these funds just basically lay dormant in an account. Let me turn it over to Andrea Rocco, and she can go into a little bit more detail about the way the process has worked and the way it should be working on a going forward basis. Andrea?
Okay, thank you. Hello. You can see the diagram over here to the right, which breaks down the buckets that the executive spoke about. They're divided between criminal bonds, civil bonds, and fees or costs, deposits that are put down when a person files an action with the Court of Clerks. Throughout the life of the case, this money is drawn down from, especially on civil cases. In the cases of criminal bonds, this money is posted to assure the appearance of whomever has been indicted. And while the various statutes offer some guidance as to what a clerk of court should follow, I'm in the middle of looking at the best practices available while we try and delve into this issue. But while the statute offers some guidance, much of it will be left to what we come up with, the best way to give notice to the person that has put down the money and how to get it back to them. So essentially, you will see that that once notice is provided, and as the executive said, we will probably utilize both the internet as well as some personal notice. If a certain time goes by, those monies will eventually be put on an unclaimed list, which you will see publicized both in the Clerk of Courts Office and on the website, as the statute calls for. 5 years from that date, then, those monies move over to the general fund. That's essentially what will happen.
When could people, could you just explain quickly, when could people expect, who think that they may have some of these funds that the county is holding, when could they expect to be able to find out that information?
If there is a person that is questioning, and now that they've maybe read about this or seen this, and they remember that they had put down money, there's nothing to stop them from calling us or coming down to the Clerk of Courts Office and looking up the case. We then would be able to look at the case. We would know who put down the money. We're going to have to verify, of course, that the person standing in front of us is the person that had posted the bond. There have been instances where people will try to claim money, say that they're somebody else, and then when we ask for their ID, it's clear they are not the person that had posted the bond. In the case of civil cases, it's a little easier. Most of those cases involve attorneys, firms, or a plaintiff in the case. And usually, it's much easier to get a good address for those folks.
Great. Any questions?